What's up, folks, and welcome to Indie Showcase. So you're gonna have to forgive me a little bit on this one. This is a video I've tried to make several times now, and I feel like it doesn't really support my format that well. I actually did stream a bunch of this game, but it turns out the developer who offered me a code for it was expecting a video, not a stream. So I said, okay, I'll do one of those as well, because this game is quite interesting, but it's very hard to record in the way I would normally do it. And this is also just going to, in general, be a weird one for me to make, because this is a game that has almost universal acclaim right now. And I did finish it, and I'm not going to say I didn't like it, but I don't know if I get it, if I'm honest with you. So this is OPUS Echo of Starsong, and it's developed by an independent Taiwanese studio, and this is actually the third game in a series, the OPUS series, if you will. And the other games I'd never heard of until this one had come out, and each of them is somewhat different, but they're very character and narrative heavy stories, and they use the concept of feng shui, and I apologize if I mispronounced that, but it's a Chinese sort of mythos, basically, that they use as the framing device for this. It's sort of the concepts of it, I guess, if you will, that are in this. And it's about a very, very far future society where a great war has taken place, and the war is no longer running, but, you know, things are still a bit tough. And a key resource in the universe is called Lumen, and is mined from all of these different asteroids. And the Lumen also has an audio resonance that can be picked up by certain people in the universe, and that's sort of used to both find it and also for other purposes. I'm really trying not to be spoilery here, because really the story and the characters are what this game is all about. Now, I'm just skipping through this here. First up, this game, it's not a walking simulator or a visual novel. There is gameplay in this, but it's much closer to those than not. There's going to be a lot of reading in this game. There's no voice acting. And the interactive components that there are cool and actually kind of chill. But they're definitely, there's not much challenge to this game, and the interactivity is somewhat minimal. If you're someone who doesn't like those kinds of things, this is probably not going to sell you on it. I don't have a problem with the concept of walking simulators or visual novels. I just find most of them have stories that don't live up to their lack of gameplay. Now, the thing with this one is, I think the story's very interesting, but it's very abstract. It's very high sci-fi, I guess you'd call it. And it is very character driven, and there's a lot of emotional moments, and there's some choices to make at certain parts of the game. But I'm just not sure I get it. I feel like it's a game that, if I understood the story better, I would probably understand what all the praise is. At this point, I'm like, my interpretation of it is, yeah, it was cool, but that was kind of it. I don't know. So I'm going to show you a little bit of the basics of how you get around here. So this game has a little bit of Mass Effect in it, almost, in the sense that you're going to be jumping between different locations and doing different things. And then it also has some platforming in it with puzzles. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you that, because the platforming sections are very few and far between, and there's really not much to them. You're just traversing a level, and there are puzzles in this, but I use the term very loosely. None of them are difficult at all. This really is just about having some gameplay to advance the story. So you're going to take your ship, which is called the Red Chamber, and travel to these different destinations. At different destinations, you're going to have different things that you can do here. There's going to be people that you can interact with. There's going to be exploration that you can do to try to find additional resources. You're going to go on some quests for people, some of which are optional, some of which are not. There is the galaxy in this game. You don't have to fully explore if you don't want to. So there are sections that you can avoid, but it can be to your benefit and to do that, and that you can find additional interesting things. And at these bigger destinations where you have things like this, you'll often have options to do something. Basically, little one-off side quests that are done in the moment that you can do on behalf of someone. You can choose not to, or you can, But almost any task you choose to undertake has a dice roll, as you can see right there. And there are things you can get that will modify that in your favor. But for right now, you see this is difficulty level 5, and this character's luck is between 1 and 10. So I may win, I may not. It's always random. So it could work, it could not. And it looks like I failed here. So I still got a reward for failing that, but I would have gotten a better one had I succeeded. And there are other choices that are a little more hairy, things that can cause your ship to get damaged and things like that. Now, the problem is there is failure states in this game, but you kind of gotta try to make that happen. In my entire 10-hour playthrough of this game, I only died once, and it was because I failed the dice roll and my ship got blown up. And you just jump back to the last spot you were. There's really very little penalty for failure in this, and it's very hard to do that. So I looked around these couple of things. Once you've done one of these little side quest things at a station, you can only do it once. So oh, okay, well, shut my mouth. You could actually do this one multiple times. Most of them you can't. When you've done it, that's it. You can't do it again. If you've succeeded, great. If you failed, well, too bad. So some of the bigger stations as well also have resupply points, and this is going to be key here. So you see in the upper right there, so you have money, which you get by going to different Lumen asteroids and exploring and retrieving resources. And you have beside that are your exploration kits, which are what allow you to actually do that. To the left of that is the armor plating for your ship, and to the left of that is fuel. If you run out of fuel, it's game over. If you get blown up, it's game over. If you run out of exploration kits, you just can't explore anymore, though you really do want to do that. You also have the ability to sell various things that you pick up on your travels. So a lot of the things you explore, they have no particular use. You can just sell everything, and then all of a sudden you got a huge ton of money. You will occasionally as well either purchase or acquire items as well that allow you to upgrade your ship, and that is going to be key later on to make exploration in that easier, as well as some other options here. I had filled out all but one of these upgrades by the time I finished the game. It's not very hard to get your ship filled up. Okay. And you also have a thing here called memories. These are various items and notes of other things that you'll pick up as you go through the game. There's quite a large number of them. I didn't pick up nearly all of them. And then here we go. Here's the navigation screen. So occasionally you'll get emails from various characters that you've met along the way, giving you information and potential objectives that you can go to, like this one. This guy sent us coordinates to go to a particular place. And again, there's a lot of discussion there. So here we go. So here's the map. So these are all places that we've been before. And anything that you haven't been to before, you'll see is just sort of marked like this. So what you do is you select a spot, you analyze it. If you're close enough, you can analyze it. If you're not, you've got to get within a certain distance of it. And then you can travel there if you've got the fuel. Now, occasionally you'll just go there, and sometimes you'll have an interjection like this. Sometimes it'll be a group of people who want you to help them out. Sometimes they'll be hostile and you have to choose to either fight or run. Or you can try to fake your way through certain encounters, which I found for the most part was never that difficult. So this is difficulty 6. This character has 3 to 12. So there we go. We succeeded that. And you see we won some stuff from it. So you'll get little encounters like that. And you'll notice I'm just saying this character, that character. So the characters in this game are one of its bigger selling points. They're all very distinct. They all have very deep backstories, histories, and personalities. I'm trying to keep them very neutral because, again, I think if it looks like this game will interest you, that's something you really need to discover on your own. I really don't want to spoil the core elements of that because it's just so important to the game. So you see here, this is an abandoned place called the Liberation Monument. We can go in and look at some stuff. Sometimes you'll just get that little descriptor. Sometimes a secondary event like this will happen. So you can choose, is this good or is this not? Let's see if we can pull this thing in. So there you go. Empty casket, right? So we got something for that. There's also a shrine in here that we can choose to go look at. Again, this is all text, so you got to be prepared to read. And I will say that the dialogue in this game is pretty good, but it's very verbose. It really loves its ellipses. Holy jeez, does it love its ellipses. And so you see, by using an exploration kit here, I've picked up a bunch of different items, including some fuel for the ship, and other things that we can sell. Again, sometimes you'll get a secondary event like this. Yeah, so the game loves its ellipses. It does have the problem sometimes of using 50 words where 5 will do. It loves to really describe things and be very verbose in that. Now, a lot of people generally, a lot of people, especially fans of visual novels and the like, enjoy that. They enjoy very expository dialogue that is very verbose and very detailed. It gives a lot of information about the environment that you're in and what's affecting your character's motivations and the like. And this does do that. So I'm not saying it's bad. And again, I finished this. You know, I don't play hardly any visual novels. So, you know, make of that what you will. The dialogue is verbose, but I'm not going to say it's bad. I actually think this game is fairly well written, and definitely from a high sci-fi angle is pretty interesting. So, you know, and here's a different kind of environment here. This is a casino, actually, that we're going to. And then we have a secondary thing going on here. I'm just going to skip through this to not spoil anything. And yeah, you're going to learn a lot about the backstory of these characters as you go through. They have all lived very different lives, but they have all been interesting lives, to put it mildly. They've all been through some things. And really, it's that combined conflict that, that combined challenge and struggle that they all have that makes them all work together. You know, it feels like a very motley crew of people to a certain point, people who really shouldn't work together well and who shouldn't gel the way they do. But it's their combined struggle there that makes them work together well and helps them best accomplish their goals. There is a lot of emotion in the story as well. So you see, here's a casino. I can actually make a bet if I want. If I recall, I tried this in the game and I lost hardcore, but you know what? We're just doing a video. Let's try it again. Oh, hey, I actually won that time. Sweet. So, yeah, things are very emotional in spots in the story, and you're going to really see these characters struggle with their past, and you're going to really see them have a hard time with a lot of elements in their lives, and you will really feel for them. And you'll start to get attached to them, I think, later on. And that was the thing that interested me. Even though, you see, because honestly, I think the reason I maybe don't get this game the way a lot of other people do is that I like sci-fi very much, in fact. But I've always tended to be more into the, I guess what you call lighter sci-fi, stuff like Star Trek and The Expanse and Babylon 5 and things like that. You know, really deep, high sci-fi stories. You know, some of the sci-fi books you can get that are like that thick. I've never really been into those. And I think if you have been, you'll have much more of an appreciation for what this game is laying down. That's the feeling that I get. Again, as someone who doesn't really consume a lot of that stuff, that's just my guess. But I think maybe that's where a lot of the praise for this is coming from. And that's the thing about this, and why I wanted to show this to you, and why I did want to do a video on this as well, even though it was a better streaming game, is that as someone who has very high standards for visual novels and walking simulators, and to be honest, is not a fan at all of some of the most well-regarded ones out there, I do think this game is interesting. Even though I didn't get it, I enjoyed playing through it. I don't finish every game that I cover unless it's a game that I really like. I often don't finish a lot of the games that I cover because I just don't have enough time. But I actually made the effort to sit down and finish this one. And when I got to the end, I was like, I'm not sure I get this. I think it may be a few feet above my head, but I'm glad I played it and I enjoyed it in spite of that. And it feels like something where maybe if I came back to this game at some point, I'd be like, yeah, if I decided to come back and do another playthrough of this game at some point, I might be like, yeah, you know what? Okay, I do get it now. And wow, this is really profound. And maybe it would click to me after I got things a little bit more. So, yeah, I hope that makes a little bit more sense. Also, there's merchants and there's an entire race in this game that are capybaras, and I mean that's just the best thing ever. I love that. So you see, for helping that guy out, I got directions to an unknown Lumen cave. So that's one of the optional things that you don't have to complete in order to finish the game, but you could. From a technical perspective, this game will run on fairly low-end hardware, I think. It's on PC and Mac right now. For some baffling reason, out of the box, it's capped at 36 frames a second, which is really strange to me. You can uncap it, which is what I've done here. Highly recommend doing that if you have the hardware to do it. 36 is just a weird frame rate for a game like this. But yeah, it should run on fairly low-end hardware. I really, really do love the way this game looks. It has this sort of crushed down pastel palette. It uses a very specific spectrum of colors that I think work really, really well and looks really good. Like, I really, and you can see it's sort of, you can see it, the look at the ship there. Everything is kind of cell shaded, but it's very much grays and light browns and things like that, and I really enjoy it. I think they do some pretty incredible work on that front. The soundtrack is also very, very good, especially the ambient space tracks. I really enjoy them. I think they're very nice. The soundtrack can be bought with the game, or you can buy it separately on Bandcamp as well, which is always a nice thing to see for indie games. And the presentation certainly is not lacking in any way. And it's weird, right? Because I'm going to say that it's strange, because normally what I would say in a review like this is that a game like this is not for everybody, and you got to really know what you're getting into. But so you see, I tried to push through those guys there, and they shot at us, which hurt a little bit, but we got through. But that's the thing. This game is so universally praised, both by actual reviewers and on Steam. Like, I think as the time of recording, this has a 97% on Steam. It's one of the top-rated games on the service. I would normally say that this game isn't for everyone, but everyone seems to like it, at least those who are playing it. So, I don't know. This feels like a game that was not made for broad appeal, and that is very much catering to a particular niche audience. But it's obviously serving that niche incredibly well. So, yeah, I do definitely think it's worth checking out. I will say that it starts and opens very slowly. So if you're one of those people who's going to be like, okay, well, I'm going to give this a go, and if I don't like it, I'll just, Steam refund it within 2 hours. You may have a hard time doing that, because honestly, you don't get very far in this game in 2 hours. It takes quite a while to get itself going. It does a lot of character development and a lot of exposition and things like that in those initial few hours. And I will admit, when I was streaming it, I spent most of my stream just getting through the first chapter, and I was like, is this gonna get going at some point? My audience was pretty bored, to be honest with you. But then once it got going, it was like, whoa, okay, now things have gotten a little bit more interesting. So, yeah, it's a strange game to me. Not bad. Definitely not bad. You know, again, as you can name some of the most popular walking sims and visual novels out there, and I will not probably have praise for them. But I think this one is cool. I think you're going to... So here we're having some exposition that has some of these sort of still rendered cutscenes, which are very, very nice. I think there's a chance very good chance you could like this if you're into this kind of game. But I think if you really want if you really are looking for big time action, or if you're seeing some of the ship management stuff in here and thinking it's a, you know, it's an FTL kind of deal, it's not that. Not even close. It's not a Mass Effect. It's not an FTL. It's not an action platformer. It's nothing like that. It is very much focused on the story and the characters and the exposition, but has a little bit of sci-fi gameplay wrapped around it. So if that framework sounds cool to you and you are just into an interesting story that's very high sci-fi and inspired by some Chinese legends, then this is cool. And it's quite unique as well. There isn't really a lot like that out there. And this developer has definitely made something interesting and different. And I'll always applaud that. Even if it's not always my cup of tea, I will always applaud people trying something different and taking a creative risk, which they certainly did here. And it seems to be paying off. But yeah, I know this wasn't as good as one of my normal videos where I'm really showing off the gameplay a lot. It's just because there isn't a lot to show in this one, really. And I think it's important. But I think this is a game that's important to explain to people. And to make people aware of, even if it's not the type of thing I normally cover around here. So I hope that was helpful to you anyway. But yeah, that is Opus Echo of Starsong. It is out now on PC and Mac. It is not on consoles. Hopefully it will be at some point. This could obviously run on all of them. So hopefully we'll see it there at some point. I think some of this developers' games have come to mobile platforms as well, and this could actually work fine on a phone as well with the type of game it is. So hopefully we'll see it in more places so more people can get access to it and try it out. But it's quite interesting. It's quite different. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. If you liked what you saw here, please do all the normal YouTube things. Hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell so you get notifications on future videos, and leave a comment down below if you've gotten to the end of this. Thank you. And if you did, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think of this. Does this interest you? You know, are you compelled to check this game out where you might not have been before? Do you know of other games like this that interest you? I've kind of had my interest peaked a little bit now, so I might want to look into some other stuff there too. And as always, you can follow me over at twitch.tv/pxabstraction for multiple variety streams a week, including some cool indies that we also don't cover over here. Got a great community there, and I'd love to see you. Thank you very much for watching, everybody, and I will see you on the next Indie Showcase. You folks have yourselves a good one. Take it easy.